Members audience, we have one more bill, and Representative Landry is here, and that would be House Bill 479. Mr. Gonzalez, can you please read the instrument into the record? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Storment. I apologize.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Members, this is House Bill 479 by Representative Landry. It provides relative to witness or victim notification.
Thank you, Mr. Storment. Representative Landry, on your bill.
Thank you, everyone. Hello for the first time this year. This is very simply what it says it is. It's for victim notification. We have been talking about this for several years. Back into my last term, I talked to Rep. Bacala about it. How can we address the issue that victims and witnesses are often not told when someone is released, when there is a sentencing date, when charges are dropped? There's so much information that they want to know. Sometimes they're scared because they found out someone was released, and there's no reason we can't tell them this. Technology is available. And for me, the state has an obligation to tell victims and witnesses what's going on. So I've been working with Mr. Walters here, and he's been working with many people. And what we hope to have by the end of next year, perhaps, is essentially just a little system online that will have all the information for the cases involved, that victims can request whatever they want. It will have victim services. If you're a relative, you'll be able to get involved, and it will have everything from, again, he can give the details of every jurisdiction that might be involved in this one place, or the ability of the system to pull the information out. And there's also some questions about the fiscal note, because there's some financing coming from elsewhere that, again, Mr. Walters can answer. And I think this is a good bill. I think this is something that's solving a problem that has been lingering for a long time that we can fix by throwing some technology at it. So
Thank you, Representative Landry. I do not see any questions in the queue. Mr. Walters, I have a blue card from Governor Jeff Landry's office that you are present and would like to speak in support.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. Christopher Walters, Deputy Executive Counsel to Governor Landry. The governor's office is in full support on this bill in working with Representative Landry, and across the aisle. I think everyone can agree that our victims are owed the rights and duties that we have set forth for them across our statutes, to provide for protection, to provide for services, to provide for notification, and all of the ancillary things that go along with that. What we have found throughout this process is that there are a lot of rights and a lot of duties that are afforded to victims and to witnesses and to victims' family members throughout the statutes. And then there are various stakeholders that are tasked with actually upholding those rights and those duties, or performing some function to be able to get them there. We believe that the current system is overly complex. It is difficult to understand for both victims and oftentimes for stakeholders as to who is doing what and where the baton gets passed along from one to the next, as well as we have disparate systems that don't always connect with one another to share the right information and get that information to where it needs to be. So I know Madam Chair just mentioned ICGIS, the Integrated Criminal Justice Information System. That is a board that is made up of all of law enforcement, everyone in the criminal justice system, our chiefs of police, our sheriffs, our district attorneys, our clerks of court, our courts, our appellate courts, our Supreme Courts, the legislature, the Department of Corrections, Louisiana State Police, Office of Juvenile Justice. All of these entities that have any access to criminal justice information are a part of ICGIS. And through these projects, and Representative Knox, to one of your questions earlier, these projects are basically creating connections between the two so that the systems can speak to one another and understand what information each system has. Because right now, many of these systems are in silos. They don't they're not able to talk to one another and say, this information is the same as this information. And so what we would like to do is to use these ICGIS projects that are making these connections and create a comprehensive victim services system that spans the gamut, that follows the case from the arrest or initiating incident all the way through. If an offender is convicted and they serve time, it follows them all the way through the process, provides the information, and I am out of time.
Thank you, Mr. Walters, and thank you for respecting my 3-minute rule.
Madam Chair, can I just add for 1 minute? I have been approached by a couple of different advocates, I meant to tell you, with just a few amendment suggestions to streamline some of the language. I didn't get it in time for today, so I will bring that on the floor and I'll let y'all know if it's anything substantive, but I doubt it.
Thank you so much, Representative Landry. Representative Knox.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, may I request to get a copy of the blue card so I can frame it? I've never seen this before, and I just want to memorialize that my good friend Mandy Landry is siding with the governor on this particular bill, which is a great bill.
It's not partisan, not partisan.
But Representative Knox, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you're bringing a bill on behalf of the district attorneys. So there you go.
Don't say that too loud.
I'm going to shout it from the mountaintops. What are you talking about?
Look, I give the governor credit. I will give the governor credit for at least as it relates to Troop NOLA in my district. I have seen a drastic drop in crime, and I also give credit to NOPD as well. So in all fairness and seriousness, the governor has been a great partner in my district and in particular in New Orleans. But I think this is a good bill, Rep, and at the appropriate time, Madam Chair, I'd like to move favorably.
Thank you, Rep. Knox. Rep. Walters.
Thank you, Chair. Just a few questions here. In terms of this system being consistently updated to match, for example, it gives on page on page 3, it talks about when a person is released, basically how the defendant's arrest. So will everything be consistently updated with this software? Who will update it? How often will it be updated? Just making sure that it is consistent with the actual time frame, not like a 1 or 2 day lapse in updating.
So it's speaking to your question. Thank you for that question, Representative Walters. So currently, our law enforcement partners are usually the first to encounter our victims when they go out and they are investigating the incident. They encounter the victim and they have it's a lengthy written document that they have to prepare to register these victims at the scene, and then they have several copies that have to go to different places. What our system would envision is that they could either do that electronically by the law enforcement officer or even potentially having the victims, having them provided with a website or a QR code or something that they can register themselves. And because that data is able to be shared, we can verify that on the back end with the sheriff's data or whoever the arresting agency is that will have all of that victim's information there. And so that would be pretty much instantaneously back and forth. And it would also, I need to give a quick shout out to the clerks of courts, because they currently have a system right now that they put in place last year. If you go to eclerksla.com is their statewide system. You can create an account, you can search for a criminal defendant's name. It will show you the name of every person within the last 5 years of a case. And then if you have an account on there, you can click a button that says, please alert me anytime there's a new minute entry, which would include motion hearings and things like that. So any victim that currently wants to do that can, and that's all free through eClerksLA. And so similar to that instantaneous notification and updates and just providing that assistance to our law enforcement partners, because they have a very difficult job a lot of responsibilities when they get out there to the crime scene, and then the district attorneys as they prosecute these cases. And so the more information that we can give to victims to empower them to going forward.
And will their identity be protected, the victim's identity, to where like nobody can go into the software, the system, and say, hey, such and such is tracking you? Like, will their identity be protected?
Yes. So just as it is right now.
Mr. Walters, if you could quickly, Rep. Walters exceeded her time. I'm going to allow it, and this may be the only time I allow it.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Very briefly, yes, all of the victims' information it's currently confidential. It will remain confidential, and only those with needing access to that information and have, already authorized will be allowed to view that.
Okay, thank you. And point of clarity, Chair, can you clarify the time rule? Because, I asked 2 questions that maybe took 2 minutes. And so can you clarify the timing rule for those of us who are here? And then, of course, those who are sitting in answering questions, authors, and
Rep. Walters, the time limitations are no different from last year, and you were here all last year, and I believe we were in 3 sessions last year. The time rule is 3 minutes, and 3 minutes includes both questioning and answering.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rep. Landry, could you just to let us know so that we can be prepared, do you have a general concept of the amendments that are being requested? I realize it's been given to you at the last minute, but might you have some idea of the concept of those amendments?
I glanced at it and it looked like I didn't have a paper copy. There was one part that said to use the investigating law enforcement agency. Does that make sense to you? Versus, because sometimes, from what I understand, sometimes the investigation might cross a few different boundaries. And so I think there was a request to narrow it to what agency has the responsibility. If I am making sense here.
Okay.
Yeah. That was the major one I saw. And I believe there's victim rights in other statutes and some cleanup to make sure there wasn't anything that conflicted.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. And I do not see any further questions in the queue. Rep. Landry, if you want to close on your bill.
I think
I'm sorry. See, we've been out a lot. Let me at least read the cards in. I don't think we have anybody wanting to speak, but let me go ahead and read them in. We've got Peyton Rose Michelle, green card, present in support, but does not wish to speak. Dwight Hudson, right on crime, present in support, not wishing to speak. Susie Labrie, present in support, not wishing to speak. Jill Dennis, Vice President of Louisiana Victim Action Network. And I correct that. Ms. Dennis has indicated that she does support but wants to speak. Zach Daniels, Executive Director of Louisiana District Attorneys Association, present in support, not wishing to speak. District Attorney Brad Burgett, present in support, not wishing to speak. Marianne Mushat, present in support, not wishing to speak. And Billy Joe Harrington, District Attorney 10th JZC, present in support, not wishing to speak. District Attorney Christine Russell. And then we have John Harmon, present in support, not wishing to speak. And we have Francis Abbott, Executive Director of the Board of Pardon and Paroles, white card, present and will provide information if necessary. Jim Kraft with LCLE, white card, present and present and white card, present and will provide information if requested. And Chico Yancey, red card in opposition, but not wishing to speak. Ms. Dennis, did you want to, Ms. Dennis, did you want to speak?
Good morning. Jill Dennis with Louisiana Victim Action Network. And I first want to thank Representative Landry for taking this on. It's very important. And Representative Knox, it's going to take bipartisanship to make sure that our victims are protected. We have a disconnect when it comes to some of our victims. A lot of our victims of violent crime are not familiar with our court system. They're not familiar with their rights. they're not familiar with what the district attorney or the local law enforcement agencies are supposed to do. So I do encourage you guys to vote yes on this bill, not only for more comprehensive investigation and district attorneys having what they need and notifications to the victim, but to make sure that our victims do have the accessibility to the rights that they have available. There are so many rights that are available to the defendants and the offenders that violated these victims that are not available to our victims, such as service on court dates, and the release of information when someone escapes. We've had a situation where an offender cut off an ankle monitor, and the only reason the victim knew is because someone told them, because they saw a note on the district attorney's office. It took 4 hours after that device was cut off. I don't think that's appropriate. I think victims should be notified right away. And I just urge you guys to vote yes on this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dennis. I do not see any questions in the queue. Do we have a motion? Motion by Vice Chair LaFleur to report the bill favorably. Do we have any objections? Hearing no objections, the instrument is reported favorably.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Vice Chair LaFleur to adjourn. Any objections? We're adjourned. See you next week. Thank